Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song each week, then talks about the themes of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it. I am your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, my good friends, Patrick Crane.
Welcome back, everybody.
Brad Maurer.
How you doing? Good.
Good. All right, good. Yeah, how are you guys doing? Oh, wait. Brad's good. Patrick?
Fair.
Pretty good? Fair? Okay.
Yeah, above average.
Above average.
What is new? Glad to have you guys back.
Not a whole lot. What have we been up to lately? Just back in the dank studio, got new.
This is my favorite segment when I ask what's new.
And no one knows what's
new.
going on.
Everybody typically does the same shit.
I shut down from last time we recorded and just got turned back on.
Oh,
Right on. Yeah. You've been slumped over in a closet somewhere.
that's pretty much what happened
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to reference a point in time because this isn't coming out till later, but we just got over the Thanksgiving holiday,
Yep.
which means sit on the couch and eat a lot of food and don't create an Instagram account when you promise to.
Right.
So I'm on notice.
So yeah, and you are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's
It's a
I
different
eat pieces
podcast.
of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit.
as long as you know this.
Yeah. We've been in a fight about whether or not Billie Eilish is good or great.
Yep.
That's been a recent text message thread.
And we arm wrestled over King Princess.
Yeah,
being
we
good or not.
did. And I think I'm coming out as biggest fan of King Princess. Right now.
I think you are.
Yeah.
I think I love what is good of hers, and I really don't like what is not good of hers.
I've only heard a couple songs so
So what do you
far,
think?
and
What do you
I'm
think
with
of that,
Brad
big
so
fella?
far.
I think you're ready to write for Revolver.
Yeah. Genius, except for most.
All right. So this week we've got one of Brad's songs. It is called, well, I'm not quite sure what it's called.
Well,
because
Let's list them all.
yeah.
Brad?
Well, here's the deal. Where I landed, I had an inspirational week 2 weeks ago, and I was listening to a lot of stuff, a lot of newsy stuff and whatever.
oh, the Newsies.
Yeah,
I love them.
Good
Newsies.
movie.
And so I got involved. I came up with content in my brain. Like, you know how like you'll be listening to something and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, I should write a song about that. So I did it with two things. And so I went home and I kind of jotted stuff down, and then I came up with beats and da-da-da-do. And I was telling you guys, I spent like an entire Sunday bouncing back and forth between two songs. This one and it'll be another episode for the other one. But this is one of them.
So this on Brad's hard drive, and as we follow the Brad's technical saga of computers and hard drives and things, it is titled, what is it titled on there?
It's titled,
Action?
Alarm.
Alarm. And on the lyric sheet, it's titled, We Made a Mistake.
It's called We Made a Mistake.
so
it's called-
titled,
The song
it's
is called
titled Alarm. It's called We Made a Mistake.
Yes, it's
And then-
saved as Home
when,
Squares.
when I open the session here in the studio and bounce it down to get it into our
Jesus
podcast session,
Christ.
it is called Home Squares. So we're going to go.
Do you do parents then brackets for a subtitle?
I know where shit is. Okay? I know where it is. Go find it. Okay?
So this song is officially called We Made a Mistake, and we are going to listen to it right now. Home Squares. And
We will.
Is it muted?
It's
always
definitely muted. It was. I've gotta get out of here. my time. I was floating alone next to the island where I reside, waiting on whatever was going to fall from the sky. I've gotta get out of here before I die. But if my family disappears, then it must be my time. I was waking at home. Everyone I love by my side. Who do I take along? Or do I send them out and leave myself behind? What did we do that made them want to hurt us so bad? We need to look at what we're doing before we all end up dead. If it was up to you, I know we'd all be safe in the end. But it's up to them, and we are all just numbers in the math. I gotta get out of here and accept my fate. Was it all just fear? And they made a mistake. So that's it.
All right. So right off the bat, I get a Nirvana "My Girl" vibe hard off that beginning.
Really?
Like, yeah, immediately.
Weird.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
No, that's very
my
weird.
Girl, my girl.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Huh.
Just the sound of it.
Yeah.
The tone of it.
Interesting.
I really did picture like a pink and orange sky with mountains on it through a lot of that. And some of it reminded me of a backing track of like a David Lynch, one of his like PG rated movies.
Yeah, that's
that
funny.
makes any
It-
sense.
It is a really cinematic song.
Yeah.
That was I'm going for something here, and I want to see if you guys grabbed it. And it wasn't. It's about something really specific.
So my guess is like, is this about immigration?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Then I have questions like, get out of where and who's after these people or this person.
I'll tell you after I listen to Patrick.
Okay.
So I didn't interpret this as anything specific. I got more of a wanderlust vibe, that you're just feeling stuck in the same place and whether or not it's time to move on and seek new opportunity.
That's where I was trying to go lyrically.
Uh-huh.
The inspiration for it was basically, and exactly what it's about is, remember
Season 6,
No.
episode 3.
like no
some type
like 2 years ago.
It's a good
No,
DuckTales
it's not
episode.
TV.
Not TV.
It's not TV.
of DuckTales.
It's typically it's TV with me. But there was a missile scare in Hawaii
Oh, yeah.
where
Okay.
everybody got a message on their phone. Mm-hmm. And recently I was listening to something, and then I turned it off and the radio was on, so I don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a story, and they were interviewing two people, and one of them was this girl, and she got the alert, and the first thing she did was she hopped on her surfboard and she went out and she was like figuring it out. She's like, well, what am I going to do if this missile's coming? And she turned around and she was looking at Hawaii, and she's like, you know what? Those mountains have been here for a really long time, and I wasn't meant to outlive those mountains. I shouldn't outlive those mountains. If those mountains go, I should go. You know, and the second verse is about a guy that was in his house, and he's like, you know, I have my kids that are down the hall, and I have my wife that's laying right next to me. What do? It's like I ran towards my kids. You know, it's like, and what do I do? Do I keep everybody here, or do I send them away and stay here? You know. And that's exactly what it's about.
I think that's phenomenal. My head didn't go there.
It's not gonna,
and it's not gonna. But I think the official title of this song makes a lot of sense. Then
that's what they said.
Yeah,
right. Like so, at the end of it, when all of that story was said, everybody got on the news. They're like,
Sorry.
"Well, we made a mistake.
Canada
wasn't a ballistic missile." You know, you're like. Wow, that put a lot of people through a lot of shit. And that's basically what that story was about. People were like, okay, like, you're in Hawaii in 2018 of whatever it was, and what'd you guys feel there in that? And it was really cool. And I was like, I got something for a song on that. And that's exactly what this song is. And that's why I wanted to give it that feel. It's a little somber, but and also I've been kind of listening to country music, which is kind of odd for me.
So yeah, I got a couple quick notes. The first note I made on this song was, I'm a sucker for the slide guitar.
Yes.
And it just fits really, really well. Now that I know what the song's about, it fits even better because it kind of has that luau laid back.
Right. And that was where I was going with it. I was
Yeah.
trying to tie the themes in without being really obvious, you know? And have a whole lot of people.
And it's not like you just went for a Eddie Vedder ukulele song.
No.
It's really subtle, and I think that goes really well with your lyrics. So, bravo.
So here's my question. Now that we know, I think that's a great story, but neither of us got the point of that song.
That's not the point.
Okay, so you're not worried about this.
No.
This would work so good in a video form.
Yeah.
Like you would get all of that
In a video.
In a video.
But you're not supposed to, every song that anybody writes ever, you're not supposed to know exactly where it came from. I wrote it in a certain way.
Okay.
Like I changed the second verse a little bit just because I was like, that's a little bit.
So you're trying
a missile's
to be
coming.
vague.
Yeah, and that's kind of usually what I do is I'll change things to make them a little more vague just because I like vague.
Like
Because-
when you're going to show up to a recording session.
Yeah.
Brad, when are you going to be here?
3
Cats are cool.
Well, I'm eating breakfast right now.
Chorus is legit, my friend. I love the turns of phrase in the choruses.
Changing the word.
Yeah. That's a good trick that I'm always looking out for. And your self harmonies, as always. I don't think I need to comment on those anymore because I love what you do with self harmonies.
Do you like those?
I like those.
I went through, I actually re-recorded them like 4 times. I can't go high well. This is another song that's tuned down to D standard. All of them, like the other one I'm doing that I did that day is also, obviously I wasn't going to retune my guitar every time, but I always go down.
You have to operate within your vocal limits.
Yeah,
Like,
and so like I know how high I can go, and when I get, if in standard tuning, if I try to go too high, it just sounds like,
how many times have you and I been recording and I'm stepping up to the mic, getting ready to do a vocal, and I always overshoot. Like,
Right.
I'm going to do the one that's in my head.
right.
And
But
it
you're like,
comes out like
you
a
can't do that.
like a seagull that just ran into a jet engine.
Exactly.
And it's just horrible.
Yeah, I did a couple, and that's why, like, I was telling Wade the other day, I was like, you know, when my wife's home, like, I can't really get a good vocal out because it feels like I'm just bellowing wet farts out of, like,
Oh, yeah. It's peeing in public.
Yeah.
It's hard to get comfortable,
But
when you know other people are there.
Yeah,
judging
and I
you.
know what it sounds like because I isolate the vocals and listen to them. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound great by itself, you know, but it sounds good when you blend it.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, we've established your vocal harmonies are a strong point of your production, I think.
Which I love doing them, and my favorite part about them is that they're never planned. So like I just know that I'm gonna do a couple of vocal tracks. Like the way I did it is I just sang the low vocal all the way through, and then I sang to it, and I sang it differently from somewhere. You know, like it wasn't like I'm gonna harmonize with myself. It was like I'm gonna sing it, but it just came out different. And then I was like, oh, that works. So I went back, and then you just redo it and tweak it, and now you have an idea and a concept.
So talk me through when you were writing this song.
Yep.
Music first, idea first.
I had idea was first.
Okay.
Like I was complaining to Wade in Pro Tools, I don't like changing the titles, so it's called Alarm.
Yeah.
So this missile scare in Hawaii, this was how long ago? Like in real life?
I want to say it was 17 or 18.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in there. 2017,
when you were
2018.
17?
No, 2017 or
When you were
2018.
20 or 17.
So it was not long ago.
What sparked the memory then? Or was it just something you've had on
No,
your mind
it
for
was
that
I was driving and I listened to the
were you
radio. It
listening
came
to the
on the
story?
radio.
in 2017?
No. 2019.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
We're going to have to re-record
Jesus
this whole
Christ,
thing.
Right? I mean, hopefully the listeners picked up on that when I explained it in fucking detail.
So it was a story about the story.
For a while. Jeff, did you
Yeah.
know what I was talking about? Yeah, so Jeff got
Let's
it.
let the BSers weigh in on this on our email address, which is bs@belongingsongs.com.
Our buddy Jeff's sitting here,
Yeah.
and he's nodding his head like, "Yeah, I knew exactly what the fuck you were
Yeah.
talking about." Like,
Okay. So it's me.
Yeah,
you know
I
that.
think that's what we're saying.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Couple other things. The bridge.
I think you know my music. A lot of people don't, but you know my music well enough to know that there's typically not a bridge format.
That's why I'm commenting
like
on
verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Like that's not typically how I roll. I wanted to have two stories from two people, which were the two people interviewed that I was talking about earlier when Wade wasn't listening.
Right.
And then I wanted to have like their collective perspective.
Please continue.
Like, and just a general thought about, hey, a missile's coming. Like, what did we do? Why we're in Hawaii? Why were they sending a missile to Hawaii? And then the end is more about just, hey, we've been lied to.
Yeah, I like the idea of specific story, shared experience as your bridge.
That's what I was doing. Yeah.
It's almost
that
like,
was really intentional.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you have two different specific perspectives here, and then a collective one here in the bridge.
So, Brad, I was wondering if you
this
could talk
Jack?
about what gave you the idea for this song.
Are we sitting down with Jack handy?
Yeah.
Is this deep thoughts? Like, Jesus Christ. So anyway, I noticed you had a bridge. Jesus Christ.
Would you guys mind if we listen to this again? Because
No.
now that I have the story, I'd really like to.
No,
hear it in
I would like you to.
Can I make one last comment?
Yes.
Because really, I only have a tiny critique, which usually I love to destroy Brad's self-confidence.
Should have led with
Yeah,
that.
you should lead with that.
He's
yeah.
feeling
Lead
good
with the
right
bad
now.
stuff.
I like to take a good slit wrister and get criticized over it.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is really tiny. I wouldn't even recommend re-recording it. But I think you're missing either a syllable or a pause in the very last line.
And
They made something a mistake. And I don't know what it is, so I do want to listen to it again so I can have a little more specific thought on that.
I'll give you some background. I Googled this story once I came up with it. That's why it was called something else. I called it Alarm, and then I Googled it, and a lot of the stories came up with their response to the story, which all led as we made a mistake.
Yeah.
We
I
made a mistake.
don't think you need to change what you're saying.
And so that was the last part.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to fit it in, and so I wrote that chorus part backwards. I kind of wanted to try to fit it in with the rest of them, and I kind of sang it the same way with those words in mind. I needed those words to be in line.
I'll take your defense. Let's listen to it again.
Well, I don't want you to be the only person to tell him something you don't like.
What do you have?
Let's talk about him personally.
Hang on, if Wade's sitting down, he's gonna go, I don't like most of it. But
No, the only thing that lyrically that stood out to me was the two instances of the word end, back-to-back line.
Where at?
In your bridge. So you've got before we all end up dead, and then
Oh,
if it was up to you, I know we'd all be safe in the end.
okay, yeah. I mean, a little
I
picky.
think that first,
Seems a little picky.
I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
I think maybe that first one you could find a better wording of.
I did a
before we all
pretty
end
good.
up dead.
I did a decent job editing. I originally had the first verse line. This was I was waiting alone. next to an island where I reside, waiting on whenever, And I was like, I can't do that. But
Right,
then I was
right.
like,
It's
she
the
was on a
same-
surfboard, so floating is better.
Yeah, same idea.
I didn't pick that. I didn't pick that one up, I'll be honest.
Have
I
you thought
didn't see
about
it.
calling this song something different?
A third thing?
Yeah.
Probably.
I like
Yeah.
home squares, which is about hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
So hopefully we'll be able to bring you guys that song at some point. All right, let's listen to this again in context.
All right.
Perfect.
And they made a mistake.
I think Wade wants to say something.
Wait.
Yeah, so this works so much better in context. And for that reason, I think I like the title Alarm better
Really?
because it's from the point of view of the people in the song.
Okay.
It's a good comment. I can't say I disagree with it.
Pro Tools, when you're creating something, tells you have to save it as something.
By
so
saying-
the first
calling
thing I
it-
put in was alarm.
Yeah.
And then later I was like, I'm going to call this "We Made a Mistake" because
Because alarm is in the mind
there.
of
It's
the
them, not-
protagonist of the song.
Right.
We made a mistake is
that's the others.
that's separate
Yeah.
from these characters. And man, if we could make this a duet, if we could find a girl to
Yeah.
sing
Yeah.
the other part of this,
Yeah.
this song would really
I
shine.
was thinking
That just gave me
too.
goosebumps actually thinking about that. That's a
like,
really
I think we really needed to make that happen.
I would love to do that.
'Cause I
You
think
know
it
I would.
I think that would step this up quite a bit.
I agree.
So Brad, I'm gonna say something that I hate looking you in the eye and saying.
Say it.
This is my favorite song of yours so far.
Really?
Yeah, like of everything I've heard.
I'm happy.
Now that it's in context,
I'm
it's-
happy to hear you say that because I really like it.
I do-
But I tend to really like things when they're brand new,
Yeah.
and then later on I'm like, not so good. But this one I was in my studio all day that Sunday because I just kept listening to it.
It
And I was
feels like
I want-
a labor of love.
Like I want something else to come to
Yeah.
me with this, and then I listened to it, and then I would do a little. Like I recorded very minimally. There's not a lot of you saw it. There's not a lot of stuff on it, and so like I was just waiting for like the parts, and then the other day I tweaked some stuff, and
I'm excited to mix it, but I honestly don't want to until I would love to make this a duet.
Yeah.
Like if you were into that, I think that would really kick
a girl
this up.
needs to be found. It would be great. I've wanted to do that forever, just because I have that vocal range, and to sing with somebody that had.
Yeah, I
you
think
think
I
Billie
say-
Eilish is available?
Probably. We'll have to call Phineas. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that
Are you just making up lines?
no, but thank you.
the last
for saying
line-
that, Patrick.
Still doesn't feel terminal
Not
to
right.
me.
Yeah.
And it's such a minor thing because I swear to
is it
God,
just-
this is my favorite thing I've heard you write.
But is it just the symbols, the cadence? of it?
It is. It's just the cadence. The lyrics are great, and I don't know what I would do to it without
Just
making
the very final line.
the very final line.
You don't like so
The
like,
song doesn't terminate.
because I kind of liked, and they made ...
Yeah,
a mistake.
I like the ...
right?
but I think it's how you say a mistake. So maybe it's just the last part of that line.
Is it just the way it's stated?
Yeah,
So maybe
it
okay.
is. And
Yeah, like
maybe
it should
that's
be
where
like-
you need a female vocalist to
Yeah,
drag it out a little
Yeah,
bit.
because if I sang it like this and then she sang it like a question,
exactly
it might sound better.
There you go.
Right, because what I also did too. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Did I take the backing vocals out of that part? I did, and then I didn't, and then I did, and then I
well,
didn't.
you know what it sounds like? Sounds like we're getting technical.
Yeah, we
Let's
are getting
get technical.
So you want to get technical?
Let's get technical.
Let's get technical.
So, okay, you were talking about taking some stuff out. I noticed on this session that you actually did some arranging on it. There was some muted stuff
did.
that you had recorded, so that's cool.
That's
like
a step forward for me.
your-
Yeah,
for
because
your,
usually
recording
I just
process.
I throw everything in the basket and then I'll hand Wade the basket, and go here, try to take some things out. But there was some things that I was trying to build, and I learned it from you through school, probably, or
Learned
whoever.
it from watching you, okay?
Yeah. Is that a drug commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's the drug.
The drug commercial. Your
This
brain on
episode
drugs.
brought to you by drugs.
The drug commercial.
The drugs that made us.
But
New on Netflix.
it had a lot to do with me trying to find the dynamics. Like if you notice it, I kind of wanted to build it to the bridge, and then I wanted to drop it out again, and
Yeah.
like have a recollection.
Now, I didn't take note
chorus.
of where your slide guitar is, but does it come in before the chorus?
Yeah, it starts right off.
It starts right off of the first verse.
I have a feeling we might be saving that.
No,
We'll see.
Hang on, I might argue you on that.
Yeah.
one. Because there's two parts,
Okay.
and the first part, like the slide in the first part, is simple, and then I saved and I added keyboards to accompany that, and the chorus, that part, and that's my favorite part, and that was a really late add.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I remember when we were talking, you were messing with some keyboard sounds that were very similar to what ended up in the song.
Yeah.
And I did not anticipate that this was going to be the style of song that rolled out of those keyboard sounds.
Yeah. I had the slide guitar part done, and it was actually kind of completely different. And then I was like, you know what, that's like really busy. So I pulled it out and I simplified it. And then I just played keyboards to it. And I kept just going through the sounds. And then I found the sound. And then once you hear the sound, you know the sound. Like, you know, you've been there. Everybody's been there. Like once you're like, oh,
That's
like,
it.
that's the one. So and then you just you go
Scrolling
a
through
couple
patches.
octave ups, couple octaves down, and then like you just play around with it. And I was like, that's the one. And I wanted it to not be noticed. And it sounds like you probably didn't even really realize that it was there because you picked up on the slide guitar part
I did
first.
notice that keyboard.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I wanted it to be there to be
the
more
chord?
ambient than anything. Yeah, oh yeah.
Micro chord?
That's all I have is a micro chord. But
And this song also features, like, Brad and I have both started using a product by XLN Audio called Addictive Drums,
yeah,
which has been really helpful because we can't always get
sometimes
live drummer.
sometimes you start with a drum beat though too.
Yeah.
Like I like trying to think if I did that. I didn't do it on this song. This song was
Started with
it's
a click track?
chords. Yeah, I just had chords, and there's not a lot. There might be 5 chords in the whole song.
I haven't played with this yet. I haven't even seen it. I've heard you guys talk about it a lot, but I am really impressed with the product as far as how it sounds. That bass drum in this track.
Yeah, it's the driver.
sound-
Yeah,
it's the
really
driver.
a really cool program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should have mentioned this before, but this is Brad's first new song, like brand new song
in a long time.
for this podcast. I mean, I know all these songs are new to the listeners and to the world. The only people that may have heard some of his other stuff are me and maybe a couple other people, but this is specifically for this project, you know,
Right.
as
Yeah.
we get going, which
Yeah,
is
this project was the inspiration
Yeah,
to like
which
I
is
gotta
the
write
main goal of
songs, and
this.
then like and because you get out of that mode, it's in you, but it's not in you. Just
Yeah.
work, life, whatever. This podcast in specific got me into that mode of when I did hear that radio show.
Like,
I was
you're
like,
instantly in
oh,
writing
that's a
mode.
really good. It has a beginning, middle, and end that I can use.
so this is working.
It is working. It is
Cool.
working, and it did it twice for
Awesome.
me.
I hope that this also starts to help some of our listeners be
Yes.
inspired to
And-
think that way, like
Yes.
constantly be thinking when you're out in the world that, oh, that could be a good idea or
Right.
impetus for a song.
Right. It doesn't always have to be about you and what you're going through.
Right. And I struggle with that because I'm always trying to think of what's my next song going to be about. And usually I think I'm never going to be able to write another one.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the idea, oh, shit, I'm done.
Right.
But
right.
I think, sorry, I totally interrupted there, but I think that's what happens to superstar bands like your U2s and your Rolling Stones. They forget that not everything has to be about themselves. And when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have no drama because they have billions of dollars, they stop writing
you can
songs about
change
themselves.
it. Yeah.
So,
Right.
You can sing it like it's about you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be
Right.
about you.
And I think that's something that Brad's always been good at is finding topics out there in the world where it's something I sort of struggle with. I'm always like looking in.
Because otherwise, we can all fall victim to being we're the same. Our what we think about is always the same.
Right.
Typically. So we're just going to write the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Or you got to go out and you got to find something and bring it to you and go, okay, if I was in there, this is what I would bring to that. You take your skewed view or your view and insert it into that story. You say that because you would always ask me, you'd be like, man, that song's awesome. Like, what's it about? I'm like, oh, forensic files.
Right. Like I was literally crying while I was listening to this song. It was so good. What's it about? America's Top Model.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah, one of those was. Yeah, literally, it was about America's Top Model. Or what? Is that what it was?
Next Top Model.
Next Top Model. I was like, yeah, it was about what they're thinking when they're they want to be on a show. But
Make it
we'll
work.
do that song later.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else on this song?
No, I mean,
What do you guys think? Is this Patrick?
It's done.
It's done. Well, I'm gonna mix this. So we are gonna listen to it.
after we get that girl.
Oh man, if we could do that, that would be great.
Anybody know a girl?
Yeah. Set course.
To the future!
Okay, we're back at it. It's been quite a while since we've heard this song. What?
Nothing. Welcome back.
It wasn't even a record scratch. that
No,
time.
Patrick had his mouth closed real tight like he was laughing, and that just
He
made me
was.
smile.
Brad made a face.
It's been quite a while since we've got together after listening to this song. And in that time, I actually did find someone to do a duet with Brad on this.
Wade found a girl.
Found a female person.
On Tinder?
So,
Lifestyle website.
yeah. So this is a friend of ours, works with my wife. Her name's Jamie, and she was kind enough to give us some of her time and talent and lend her vocals to this song. She came over one day, we recorded the vocals, I mixed the song, and now, are you guys ready to hear it?
Absolutely.
I'm really excited to hear this.
I'm very excited to hear
Yeah?
it. You played we got like a 13 millisecond clip.
It's a 13 out of 10.
Yeah. But we had like a little tiny clip where you played it over the phone, I think, or on one
during
of our
meetings.
FaceTimes.
Yep.
That was pretty exciting. It's interesting that it's my song and I've never had a chance to listen to it
Yeah.
in an entirely new state. So I'm really excited.
Are you nervous at all?
No, I think it's what the song needs.
Oh, I agree.
So I think it's going to come out well. I think Wade would be a good judge of if it was good or bad. And I think the fact that he finished it without going, hey, man, it didn't work out is good enough for me. It's probably going to be really good.
The song is different. No.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah.
She raps over the entire thing.
It's rap. Yeah.
It's Kesha. The biggest
We
thing,
reference Kesha a lot.
We do.
The biggest part I'm curious about going into it is where she's highlighted.
Oh, yeah, because that was something that
You took onus of. I
Yeah.
know nothing about where it came. We talked about it a little bit, but I don't know where, like if she's coming in hot.
So after we got the idea, or after we recorded this last and had the idea to do the duet, I kind of listened through the song, highlighted on the lyric sheet where I thought she should come in, and then sent, a file with the lyrics highlighted to her of where I would like her to sing so she could practice. And yeah, I think it turned out good. So let's give it a listen. Here we are. Brad, this still called We Made a Mistake? I know when we got together there was talk about it being called
You wanted it to be called Alarm, right?
Yeah. And I'm usually right, so
Well,
That's fair.
I actually, when I first made it, I called it Alarm just to save it.
right.
But I mean, honestly, I could go either way on it. Patrick, what are your opinions on the title?
Let me hear it.
Yeah, let's
again.
listen to it.
Okay.
Here we go. Home squares.
Took a minute.
It's muted.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I've gotta get out of here. before I die. But if these mountains disappear, then it must be my time.
I was floating alone next to the island where I reside, waiting on whatever was going to fall from the sky.
I've gotta get out of here before I die. But if my family disappears, then it must be my time. I was waking at home, everyone I love by my side. Who do I take along? Or do I send them out and leave myself behind? What did we do that made them want to hurt us so bad? We need to look at what we're doing before we all end up dead. If it was up to you, I know we'd all be safe in the end. But it's up to them, and we are all just numbers in the math. I gotta get out of here and accept my fate. Was it all just fear? And they made a mistake.
Brad,
Wow.
what do you think?
I'm confused. not in a bad way at all. I'm quiet because I'm.
Thinking. Patrick,
Yeah.
Patrick, what do you think?
But no, it's just it's so different.
Yeah.
And it's I want to say that it's not. We talk about it a lot on this podcast about it's not what my brain would have necessarily done.
Yeah.
So it's taking me a minute to compute.
I know
But it's really good.
the duet thing's something you've always been interested in doing. I know that much.
And
So
in the end, the completely dropping out of my vocal, I think, is the part that where I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's best. Mm-hmm. But at the end, I really love the end. I think I would say the only slightly even negative thing would just be like the bridge part. I think I expected maybe her vocal to be a little bit higher.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, like it's
I tucked him behind yours, so you were the main.
Yeah, but it's really
vocal.
it's a great version.
So you'll
that
notice
song.
I took all of your background vocals out.
Yeah.
Which were not bad. They were actually really good. But when we added the second
too
voice,
much. Yeah.
it ended up being too much and took away from the dichotomy of the two
The juxtaposition between the male female
Exactly.
vocal. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I felt bad doing that.
No, I 1,000% get it. I think there's two complete whole versions of this song. I think the one that I did was a complete whole version, but this is a great version of that song. Which one's better? It's probably not my place to tell. It probably has to be somebody else. I'm pointing to Patrick.
Right.
But because I'm very intimately involved with it.
Yeah. So I know that's a big shock for you to hear it because
It was, and I don't want
the one who made
my like my demeanor to make you think I didn't like it. Like I love it. I really love the song.
Cool.
I really love that version. But it's so different. It took me a minute to kind of put the sort
Pieces
it out.
together, right? Yeah, because you were so familiar with the
Absolutely. I've listened to that
original
other
version.
one 1,000 times.
All right, well, let's hear
It
what
is.
Patrick has to
It's
say.
it's striking, just listening to both of your music and being familiar with a single voice, and so it is. I almost get the same reaction as Brad. As that was really unexpected when the female vocals come in alone. I think that's the most striking part, and the part I was not expecting. I was expecting harmonies,
Okay.
just based on what I've heard, and I think it's really effective. Lost my train of thought.
We're going to go to commercial.
Yeah. What did we do to make them want to hurt us so bad? My skin actually tingled there. Like I got the literal skin tingling.
Cool.
And I looked at Wade. I was just like, really? What I want to know, because I obviously love the song. I love both versions of the song. This is one of my favorite songs that Brad's written. Roten.
Roten. Hashtag
What's
Roten.
the word we use?
Roten.
Roten.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
that's it.
Anyway,
Written's dumb.
yeah, writing.
Writing is dumb.
But you've got two individuals who don't know each other, haven't worked together,
Never met.
never met.
Right.
Brad's put his heart and soul into a song. What did you do from the producer's standpoint to try to connect that emotion? Did you give direction?
A little bit, not much. Jamie she's a singer. She does like sing professionally at weddings. I know she sings a lot, so she was pretty well, had an idea of what she wanted to do. I just kind of highlighted the parts I wanted. She ran through takes. There was a couple instances where I said things like, I think we can get a better one or whatever. There was a line in this bridge part. If it was up to you, I know we'd all be safe in the end, where I wanted that lift. And she did an octave there, and she really wasn't happy with it. So then she went back and did just the harmony, straight harmony. But I ended up using both of them in that line because I really did feel it needed that octave, but I tucked that down further. But she pretty much came in and just nailed it.
I'm at a loss for words just because I'm so impressed with how well Brad and Jamie's voice, and I don't just mean the sound of their voice, I mean intonation, I mean the fact that, again, they don't know each other, but there's a real emotional connection with me listening. And that's hard to pull off.
And she had mentioned the song is not in a key she's super comfortable with.
Maybe that's better.
So, yeah, I think sometimes getting out of your comfort zone. The
fuck key is it in?
Helps things.
We all know I don't know these things.
And there were a couple instances where Brad's timing and delivery, we had to do a couple takes for her to match that in the harmonies. But yeah, I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I was worried because my favorite thing about this song, the first time we heard it, was Brad's self harmonies, which I've talked about a lot. It's something that he thinks is cliche, but I like how he does it.
So, and the funny thing also is that there is a ton of them in this song.
Yeah.
And after I started mixing the song, usually I'll leave background vocals to one of the last things I'll mix in. And I did try. I brought them up it just wasn't working. I mean, I could have put them in there. They would have been in there. It would have sounded okay. But the starkness of the two voices on their own and then them coming together for the harmony parts, it was just way more effective than having all those background vocals in there.
I would have made the same decision with that being the choice, because with me. It's a lot easier to blend one voice with one voice.
Right.
And I think it's a lot better to have the male, female. That is the tone of this song now at this point.
Well, and you said
that
when you
blend.
originally wrote it that this was from two perspectives, two point of
Absolutely.
views,
That's-
one dude and one girl.
That's why I
and-
thought that was such a great idea. Like the first voice is the first verse. That voice is a female. It was a girl that was floating and looking at the mountains, and that was her perspective. And the second one was, a guy taking care of his family, and
Right.
it makes a lot of sense for it to be a male-female singer.
So you've proved that less Brad is a good thing. Did you try a version without any of Brad's vocals?
Did Jamie sing all the way through?
It came out.
She can have it. Fuck it. She can have it. Okay? If it means it's better for the world, I'll give it to her.
I wonder if we can try the podcast without Brad.
Yeah, I can edit him out.
I thought you have been.
Can we try a female?
So I think this song is really effective the way that we just listened to it. What's your thought, Brad? I mean, we're putting this song out into the world. You like the duet format, or you like the?
I love, in all honesty, like I love both versions. I think both versions have an effectiveness, but they're completely different. I don't think there's any reason to not have two versions, but this one with her putting it out there is probably the song or the version that the song wants.
Yeah,
because of the voicings and.
Yeah, and like we've been doing, if any BSers haven't noticed or caught on, we are putting both versions of the songs up on our website. So belongingsongs.com, go to the songs page. There you can find all the demo and revised versions of our songs. But the finished versions will be going out to all platforms.
Spotify's,
All the things.
All the things.
I think the song's called "We Made a Mistake."
Is it?
I think I like both titles, but I just think with the vibe I get from the duet version.
With that, like I said, it was originally a call to alarm when I listened to the news podcast or whatever that it was about.
Right.
It was originally called alarm because that was the genesis of the song, but eventually when I came to write the line, was this all just a mistake kind of thing? I loved that better because it kind of alluded to it before you're listening to it, and it lets you kind of listen with a slant.
Right. Yeah, I think it fits better with the mood of the song, but it's your song. So.
I like that too.
Sounds like it's
I ended up
called
liking
Mistake.
both titles, but and
Parents.
Well, alarm had to grow on me. This one was the one that I was naturally drawn to, so we'll probably just go with the gut.
All right.
Just call it "Maybe Made a Mistake." Really good production and producing on the song, Wade. Like
Thank you.
I really like the entire thing, and
I think maybe you listen to it a couple times when we're done and let me know if you want those background vocals
I will.
up a little more, and we can do that before we put it out into the world.
There's a couple parts where I'd like the female vocals to punch through a little bit, but I really am at a loss for words. I think this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I actually want to listen to it again right away.
That's what happened. That's why I was so quiet, as I couldn't. I can't articulate like the
makes
best
for
articulator
a good
on the podcast over here.
Oh, me?
The number one reviewer, Patrick Crane,
I believe that's
And Jamie-
of feedback.
king of feedback.
And Jamie would have came on, but she's out of town this weekend, so maybe we'll have an opportunity in the future to
yeah,
have
we'll
her
just
do
have to
some more
write
stuff.
another song and
Yeah.
have her sing on it.
Anyway, sorry to the listeners for us being all short of words, but I said it was a home run before, and now it's a
Grand
3-run
slam?
home run now, not a grand slam.
Oh, not a grand slam? Okay.
I love it.
Cool.
So it's great.
Well, I think that, this one's
Wraps it up.
about wrapped up. Thank you for listening. Please, we're looking at our. So we are basically
Kids.
just kids. Patrick's looking at his notes right now from last recording session, and there was a penis drawn on it. So.
It's a spaceship.
Oh, okay.
Wade, let's clear this up. Wade is a kid.
Yeah.
We drew a
It's a
spaceship. Wade saw a
okay,
penis.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Belonging Songs. Please consider leaving us a rating and a review wherever you listen to podcasts. That would really help. We know you're out there and listening. We can see you in the stats, but we've only got like 3 reviews. So
Super creepy.
if you happen to be my sister, married to Brad, or if you're like, I don't know, Patrick's cousin, if you have eyes, if you own a dog.
If you live in Columbus.
Yeah. Shout out to
Okay.
Columbus.
If you live in Columbus, Ohio, just leave a review. We know you're listening. Nobody knows anybody in Columbus that we can figure out. Leave the review, Columbus.
Because here's what's going to happen. Most of the people listening right now are people we do know and our friends, and you're going to have to see us at some point, and we're going to ask you, did you leave the
is gonna
review
get
yet?
weird. Christmas is gonna get fucking weird.
But in all seriousness, that is the best way for us to find new listeners is to let the podcast aggregates know that people are out there listening in the first place. So thanks again for listening. Check us out on Instagram. We're spending a lot of our social media time there trying to get up to 100 followers. So, maybe help us out there too.
We're probably at 200 by now.
Yeah.
I would guess they're 95.
Yeah. 200.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll
This
see you
comes
again
out in
next.
2021, right?
Right.
Okay.
What do you guys take us out?
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, Columbus.
All right. Bye. That was a rough outro, huh?
You could
we can do it.
you could trim that up. You got the talent.
We'd fix it.
Yeah, it's good. Boom, done. Next.